Devang Shah from LG Institute of Engineering and Technology. We are learning the subject basic electrical engineering, and in our last session we learned about three-phase induction motor. So in this particular chapter, which is defined as electrical machines, in our today's session we are going to talk about single phase induction motor. So in our last session we have discussed about three-phase induction motor, then rotating magnetic field. In our today's session we are going to discuss about single phase induction motor. Then we are going to learn about DC machines and generator. So we'll start with the single phase induction motor. So it is common type of electric motor is single phase induction motor, which finds wide domestic, commercial and industrial application. So here instead of three phase RYB electrical signal, we have to apply only a single phase to this motor assembly as part of, that's why this is referred as a single phase induction motor, where it is working on a single phase. So you can see the picture of this motor here, where the construction of the single phase motor, where for reason of using this motor is economic, most houses, offices and rural areas are supplied with the single phase AC motors. Power rating of these motors is very small, where if you talk about the construction of this single phase induction motor, where the construction of single phase induction motor is similar that of a three phase induction motor. So here there is no change in a construction, simple here from three phase to single phase. That means again in single phase induction motor having two important part, one is defined as a rotor and another is defined as the stator. So let us first start with the rotor. About the rotor construction, so it is identical to that of three phase squirrel cage induction motor. It consists of laminated core with skewed slots on periphery. Conductors and rings are formed by forcing the molten copper or aluminum into a slots. Here the rotor of single phase induction motor is interchangeable with a polyphase induction motor. So now this you can see this particular diagram as the part of the squirrel cage induction motor. There is no change, as already we have discussed during the three phase induction motor. Right now if we talk about the part of the stator, so here the picture of stator. So this is the outer part of the stator, having inside there is a slots, right? So this is a part of the rotor, and outer part of this rotor we define as a stator having some slots. What is this consist of? Now let us discuss about it. Here its core is identical to a three phase stator core. The stator slots are distributed uniformly and single phase double layer winding is employed here. So here the single phase motor stator has a laminated iron core with two windings arranged perpendicular. Now it consists of two windings. Now here this is a very important part, why it employs the two windings. Those are arranged in a perpendicular manner. So one is main winding and another winding we define as a auxiliary winding or a starting winding. Operation. So we'll see the operation here. Here the single phase motor consists of single phase winding mounted on a stator and a squirrel cage winding on a rotor. So if we talk about the operation of this single phase induction motor, the rotor bars are shorted circuit at the end ring. So if we talk about here, where when the stator is energized with a single phase supply, it produces an alternating flux and the flux cuts the rotor conductor. So now this can be depicted in this particular video. Now you can just see this clip where current is applied in this conductor, where there is a production of magnetic flux around this conductor like this way. So when here sinusoidal signal is applied, that means the AC signal is applied here, there is a production of magnetic flux. In another sense, there is a production of magnetic field is being generated in this manner. So for one half cycle or for a half cycle it is in a positive way, and another half cycle it is in a negative way. So now to see this, so when the stator is energized with a single phase supply, it produces an alternating flux, and this flux cuts the rotor conductor. So during this positive half cycle, as you can see in this video, the flux induces a voltage in rotor and the resulting current produces a torque. So the rotor tends to rotate in a one direction, but during the negative half cycle, the torque produces tends to rotate in a opposite direction. So because of this, the rotor is subject to rapid flux reversal, and due to inertia it cannot rotate. So here during the positive half cycle, the rotor will, let's say, rotate in a clockwise direction, but during the negative half cycle, let's say, rotor will move in an anti-clockwise direction. So ultimately here there is no movement of rotor inside this single phase induction motor. Now this is the biggest problem of single phase induction motor, as we have discussed in a three phase induction motor that does not require the initial torque, but in a single phase induction motor you must require the initial torque, because single phase induction motor will rotate within a one full cycle in two directions. So the resultant value of flux must be equal to 0, right? Why? Because for a positive half cycle, let's say the flux value is plus phi m divided by 2, and during the negative half cycle, let's say the production of flux is minus phi m divided by 2. So ultimately the resultant value of flux becomes 0. So there is no rotation of this single phase induction motor. So this type of torque is known as a pulsating torque, right? So that's why the single phase induction motor are not self-starting. Now how to remove this problem? So this problem will be defined as a double revolving field theory, where according to double revolving field theory, any alternating quantity can be resolved into two rotating components which rotate in opposite direction and each having half of maximum magnitude of alternating quantity. Now this we define as a double revolution field theory. So in this particular theory, if you look, you can see in this video where the secondary winding, we are not going to put it here in a perpendicular direction to the main winding. So here now the accommodation of two windings are available here. One is a main winding and another one is a auxiliary winding. Primary flux is being generated, and because of the auxiliary winding, there is another flux can be generated. So here you can see this. The resultant value of flux will be in a positive direction or either in a negative direction. So you will get only a production of magnetic flux in only one direction. So the torque can be generated in only one direction, and this is the initial torque. So once the rotor take the speed of rotating magnetic field, then after some time the requirement of auxiliary winding is not needed. Synchronous speed of rotating magnetic field, there is no requirement of this auxiliary winding. So this we define as a double revolving field theory. So if we further talk about, let the alternative flux have a maximum value of phi m, and its component fluxes A and B in each be equal to phi m divided by 2, revolving in anti-clockwise direction and clockwise direction. Then you can see this is a figure where one of the vector is moving in a anti-clockwise direction having the flux of phi m divided by 2, and another vector which is moving in a clockwise direction having the flux value is phi m divided by 2. Since these two vectors are flowing in a opposite direction having the same magnitude, so once it reaches to y-axis, then the generation of fluxes becomes 0. So this is what it follows the alternating way. So this particular theory we define as a double revolving field theory, as such two vectors are moving in a clockwise direction and anti-clockwise direction. So from this you can easily say that after some time when A and B would have rotated through angle plus theta and minus theta, you can see then the resultant flux would be 2 into phi m divided by 2 into cos 2 theta divided by 2. So the resultant flux will be here 2 phi m into cos theta. Now because of this we can solve this theory, or we can produce the initial torque using this double revolving field theory, where after a quarter cycle of rotation, fluxes A and B will be oppositely directed as shown in figure C. So the resultant flux would be 0, and after half a cycle, fluxes A and B will have resultant of minus 2 phi m divided by 2. So that is equal to minus phi m. After 3/4 of the cycle, again the resultant is becomes 0. So here the production of magnetic flux or the behavior of magnetic flux has become now sinusoidal. So that means here there is no cancellation of flux throughout the full cycle of single phase signal, right? So by this theory we can solve the initial torque problem using this double revolving field theory. So once you go and check this, if we plot the values of resultant flux uh, against the theta and limit of theta to 360 here, so curve similar to one shown here is obtained. That's why the alternating flux can be looked upon as composed of two revolving fluxes, each of half the value and revolving synchronously in opposite direction like this way. So here this part of is defined as during the full complete cycle. If you see here the flux becomes zero, then here very less flux you are going to get because of one vector. This is because of the another vector. So resultant value of flux you can see like this way. So that's what the alternating flux you are going to get during the complete full cycle, where if you check slip condition of rotor, once the rotor is moving in a forward direction, the slip sf is equal to ns minus n divided by ns is equal to s, where ns is stands for the synchronous speed of rotating magnetic field and n is the speed of the rotor. Same way if we talk the slip of a backward rotating flux, then that would be sv and that is equal to 2 minus s. This is just the equation based on the slip of the double revolving field theory. Now how we can generate a self-starting arrangement and types of the motors. So this is what the fundamental problem, where two fluxes are generated in opposite direction. So there is no movement of the rotor. So rotor cannot rotate in one of the direction. But if we are providing two windings, main winding and another is the auxiliary winding exactly a 90 degree with this, then it will provide the initial starting torque of this single phase induction motor. So to make the motor self starting, it is temporarily converted into a two phase motor during the starting period. For this purpose, the stator of a single phase motor is provided with an extra winding known as the starting or auxiliary winding in addition to a main or running winding. So the two windings are spaced or separated by 90 degree electrically apart and are connected in parallel across the single phase supply. So it is so arranged that the phase difference between the currents in two stator winding is very large. Ideally value is 90 degree. So hence the motor behaves like a two phase motor, and these two currents produce a revolving flux and hence make the motor is self starting. So initial self start would be provided by auxiliary winding which is operated at the DC supply. Now if we talk about different types of single phase induction motor, then based on this method, the providing the initial self starting or initial self torque, based on this there are the types of the motor. One of the type of motor that would provide this arrangement is defined as a split phase induction motor. Another type is called capacitor start induction motor, then capacitor run induction motor, and finally is a shaded pole induction motor. So let us start and discuss one by one. So if we talk about the split phase induction motor, where you can see there is a arrangement of the rotor and there is a main winding, in perpendicular there is a starting winding. Right now during once you apply the single phase supply, there are two currents. IM current is flowing through the main winding and IS current which is flowing through the starting winding. Because of this will create a resultant value of current in this direction. You can see this phasor diagram. One of the current which is passing through the main winding is IM, another current which is passing through the auxiliary winding which defined as IS. So you will get these two different vectors. So the magnitude of this resultant vector, the current you can see that is coming with the resultant angle of phi. From this here the main winding has low resistance but the high reactance, whereas the starting winding has a high resistance but the low reluctance. So because of this you can see there is a rotor where two windings are connected in parallel with each other. So from this the resistance of the starting winding may be increased either by connecting a high resistance R in series with it, or by choosing the high resistance fine copper wire for winding purpose. Hence, as shown in the figure, the current Is drawn by the starting current lags behind by the applied voltage V by the small angle, whereas the current Im taking the main winding lags behind the V by very large angle. So phase angle between Is and Im is made as large as possible because starting torque of split phase motor is proportional to sine phi. So here main advantage is that we have to make this arrangement where circuit going towards more or purely resistive part. So this particular angle becomes wide, is near to 90. That means if it nears to 90, that means the initial force, initial torque is very high. This is what the aim to design this split phase induction motor. Right now, in another sense, if we talk further about the split phase induction motor, where the centrifugal switch is being employed here. So this is a centrifugal switch, is connected in series with the starting winding and is located inside the motor. So once it functions is to automatically disconnect the starting winding from the supply when the motor has reached to 70-80% of its full load speed. So once the motor reaches to 70-80% of its full load, then automatically this centrifugal switch is being open, and once it is being open, there is no job of starting winding, right? So here the starting torque is only required for some time. So here the starting torque is around 150 to 200% of the full load torque with the starting current of 6 to 8 times of the full load current. So typically here applications are it is used in a fence blowers, centrifugal pumps, separators, washing machines, small machine tools, duplicating machines, and domestic refrigerators and oil burners, etc. Another type of rotor we define as a capacitor start induction motor. Now here in between starting torque and centrifugal switch, we are putting a capacitor, so that will provide the initial torque of the single phase induction motor. So here the functionality of this particular single phase induction motor is same, where you can see in this motor necessary phase difference of Is and Im is produced by connecting a capacitor in series with the starting winding. So in a split phase you can extra add the resistance. Same way here, instead of resistance, now we have replaced the resistance with this capacitor. So this capacitor will provide the initial starting torque, and the capacitor is generally of the electrolyte type and usually mounted on the outside of the motor as a separate unit. This capacitor is designed for externally short duty service, and the motor reaches about to 75% of its full speed, the centrifugal switch is opens and cuts both the starting winding and the capacitor from the supply, so leaving only the running of this winding across the lines, right? So this is all about the capacitor start induction motor. So this is one of the method to provide the split phase of this single phase induction motor arrangement. So here again in a capacitor run induction motor is nothing but it is a similar to the capacitor start, it is similar to the capacitor start motor, except the starting winding and capacitor are connected in circuit at all the times. So here capacitor is being now connected in capacitor run induction motor. There are certain advantages of leaving the capacitor permanently in a circuit. Let's say some of the advantages like improvement of overload, improvement of overload capacity of the motor, higher power factor, higher efficiency, quicker running of the motor or smooth running of the motor, which is so much desirable for small power drives in offices and laboratories. So overall applications of this single phase induction motor as we can use in a grinders, compressors, conveyors, fans and air conditioning, refrigerators, all you can use in a capacitor start, capacitor run type of induction motor. Now the last type of single phase induction motor we define as a shaded pole induction motor. Now this arrangement is quite different arrangement. So one by one we can discuss. It has a squirrel cage type of rotor, where you can see this is a squirrel cage type of rotor, but here the requirement of this pole is completely different. You can see here for the this slots where there is a winding and these two different poles are available, where this particular pole we define as a, it's a shading with the coil. So this is arrangement is defined as a shaded pole. So hence this complete pole is a shaded. That's why this kind of motor is defined as a shaded pole induction motor. Now why we use this kind of arrangement? So ultimately throughout this we are only changing the variation of magnetic flux throughout the full cycle. So here the same thing we have to create. Here we have to uh, change the value of flux throughout the full cycle, and that flux can be a kind of alternate flux. So with this shaded pole arrangement we can easily do this. So you can check the single phase AC supply, where this is a pole and this part is a shaded part, where it contains a very small area. So here there is also a shaded coil is connected. So this particular portion is little bit also work as a transformer, where in a primary and secondary both are in opposite direction. So by that way you can here control production of magnetic flux, and that flux is very important to give the rotation of this rotor inside this inside this single phase induction motor, right? So this is the overall arrangement of the shaded pole induction motor. So every stator pole is divided into two parts by keeping small slit in the pole face, and the smaller portion is covered with a quick short circuited copper wire called the copper band or a shading band. So this black terminology here we define as per this arrow is defined as a copper band or a shading band. When the starter winding carries current, the main pole produces a flux phi m, and this flux links with the shading band, and this band acts shortly. This band acts as shorted secondary and stator winding being a primary. So this is nothing but a kind of arrangement of a transformer, where you can check the alternating current is passed through the field winding surrounding the whole pole, and the axis of this pole shift from unshaded part to the shaded part B, right? So here you can see the more flux is accumulated at this portion and very less flux is there. And as long as the signal goes here from the positive half cycle from O to A to B and B to C, you can see the amount of flux is being here is being lesser. So is being decreases here, the amount of flux decreases and shifted on this side. Same way here, once it reaches to C, the flux is very small and more amount of flux will be generated at this shaded part. So ultimately you can check throughout this operation there is a variation of the flux. So there is a high value of flux, then later on flux is now shifted towards the shaded part. So this is what the main aim or main objective of this shaded uh, pole induction motor, where because of this flux is being alternating, then that will provide the initial torque to the rotor. So here the shifting of magnetic axis in effect the equivalent to the actual physical movement of this poles, hence the rotor starts rotating in the direction of this shift. So ultimately the rotor will follow the shifting of this magnetic flux, which is shifted from normal pole to the shaded part, right? So further we talk about when the alternating current through exciting this coil tends to increase, it reduces the current in shading coil by transformer action in such a direction to oppose the growth. So this is what this terminology is same as like it will produce the EMF in a shading pole, and by this way shading pole will offer a low resistance. So here shifting of flux from a non-shaded part to the shaded part, and by that way the rotor will follow the speed of the rotating magnetic field. So here according to Lenz's law it will oppose the rise of the exciting current, and by that way you can just follow the figure A, B and C, and you can just check and observe the amount of flux is being transferred from shaded part to non-shaded part to shaded part of this pole, right? So that's how the shaded pole induction motor works, right? Okay. So in this particular part we learned about the single phase induction motor, how we have generated the initial starting torque, by providing auxiliary winding in a perpendicular connection, as well as different types of the induction motor by their providing the initial starting torque. Right, so there were four types of three single phase induction motor. Thank you, dear students. If you have any doubt, please write in a comment box. Thank you very much.